Yup. I'm back. I'm gonna go for another 30 minutes. I really don't want to spend too much time on this. But I need all my free speech warriors to chime in on this one. I need all my free speech warriors to jump in and, you know. I need y'all to fight for your rights, man. I need y'all to be fighting for the Constitution. I need y'all to be fighting for your First Amendment rights, man. You know, I was laughing and joking about this shit before. I was treating it like it wasn't a big deal, like it was just, you know, we just playing around and the right are hypocrites about this, and it is funny, and it is very hypocritical, and it is very enjoyable to see you guys twist yourselves in knots trying to explain how, you know, all the other times apparently censoring people is a free speech problem, even if it's on social media, even if it's on Twitter. Like, that's still a free speech thing. But with this Jimmy Kimmel thing, it's, oh, well, you know, you can't say whatever you want on your job. You know, even though they got the fucking government involved in here. You know, pointing out that was a hypocritical was fun to do at first. But now it's time to get serious. People only get free speech when it's right wing. Yeah, of course. Yeah, now it's time to get serious, bro. It's time to actually say, okay, like, I know y'all are trying to score political points and say, y'all do it all the time, so we should be able to do it too. But I don't think now is the time to do that. I think now is the time, if you're this free speech absolutist that you people pretend to be, it's time for y'all to say, hey, this is wrong. Even for a guy that you don't like. I don't think Jimmy Kimmel is the greatest comedian in the world. I don't think I've ever laughed at a joke that Jimmy Kimmel said. Like, I don't like Jimmy Kimmel. I'm not here defending Jimmy Kimmel because he's my favorite. That's my favorite show. But, like, let's be serious here. This sets a terrible precedent for free speech. And if the chairman of the FCC can just make a call. This was not like he was actually breaking any of the guidelines in the FCC. Like, I understand that the FCC is here for a reason, but this wasn't breaking any guidelines in the FCC. Like, bro, just literally, the chairman of the FCC literally just got offended, bro. They literally were just like, hey, y'all need to do something about this. Like, they basically threatened Disney, like, hey, we're gonna pull some shit from y'all if y'all don't do something about this. You know, you could do this the easy way or the hard way. Like, he's talking to them, like, the motherfuckers was talking to Disney like they gangsters or something. They say, look, nigga, we do this the easy way or the hard way. You can't curse on TV. Why can you make fun of a dead person? Okay, Brick Donalds, I don't know if this is like you've never watched TV before, but people absolutely curse on TV. Just because they can't say fuck and shit, you know, they still say ass on TV. They still say bitch on TV. They said nigga on TV. I don't know, you ever watch the Boondocks or the Chappelle Show? Like, they say nigga on TV. Like, they curse on TV all the time. They don't say certain words because some parents don't like hearing people saying certain words. But you know, people curse on TV. They show people dying on TV. They show all types of shit on TV. Like, that's why they have the parental advisory shit. They don't curse on the news. Yeah, the good thing Jimmy Kimmel show isn't the fucking news. Come on, bro. You're trying. You're trying. You're failing, but you're trying. Were you upset when Roseanne lost her show? Did the government step in and tell them to cancel Roseanne's show? I might have missed that part. If you could enlighten me. If the FCC stepped in and told them to cancel Roseanne's show. If that's what happened, then yes, I'm offended by that too. Obviously, they wanted to break his contract. They got their chance to. No one watches talk shows. Me neither. I don't like talk shows either. Like, this is not my my genre of content. So, like, I am not defending this because I love Jimmy Kimmel's show. Like, I don't like them late night talk shows. Period. Not freedom of consequences, acting like the government. Exactly, bro. Like, first of all, don't try to steal our talking point, okay? Don't steal our talking point when we say freedom of speech isn't the freedom of consequences. When y'all get caught out on TV, on social media and in public calling people the N-word, and then you get fired and you come back and cry, why did you fire him? He just said the N-word. It's just his opinion. How you gonna fire somebody for what they say? That's our line. We're the ones that say that, okay? The freedom of consequence, you're not free of the consequences of private individuals, like your boss, or like social media, which is owned by private individuals. You are free from consequences from the government. When the government steps in and influences people to do something for you, for what you say, that's like a direct infringement on the First Amendment. And I don't know how you motherfuckers of all people are going to be arguing against that. I heard the show. It's BS. Jimmy did not overstep. Go listen for yourself. Of course, the FCC wouldn't be involved if it was just business related. Freedom of speech is not freedom of consequence. Yeah, y'all just heard this this talking point and are running it into the fucking ground. Sorry, let me get back. Let me see. Shut up. His ratings were horrible. That was the final nail in the coffin. Well, unfortunately, they didn't say it. I don't know if you read this article that I have in the background here. Nothing in any of the writings about why he was let go or his show was canceled had anything to do with ratings. Like, y'all are real good at trying to come up with what you think is a good explanation of what the shit is. But unfortunately, what you're saying is not matching up to what the people who actually talk to these motherfuckers are saying. ABC fired Roseanne for her free speech. The left cheered. Talk to these motherfuckers are saying. ABC fired Roseanne for her free speech. The left cheered. So? What's the difference between him and Roseanne? I'm glad you asked. The difference with Roseanne... Hold up, let me... I don't know if my connection is good. But the difference between what happened to him and Roseanne... Roseanne's show got canceled by a private individual or a private business, right? They can fire you for whatever you want. Most of America is at will. Like, most jobs in America are at a private business, right? They can fire you for whatever you want. Most of America is at will. Like, most jobs in America are at will. They could literally find anything to fire you for. People get fired over shit all the time. Y'all were just over here chirping and clapping and cheering about motherfuckers getting fired because y'all snitched on them for making jokes about Charlie Kirk. Okay? So, the difference for whatever you want. However, once the government gets steps in, once it's in for whatever you want. However, once the government gets steps in, once it's influenced by a government entity, which is the FCC, which I don't know if y'all know, the F in the FCC stands for federal, right? Once the government steps in and starts putting pressure on you, that's when it becomes a free speech issue. Because it's not like the joke that he said was breaking any of the FCC guidelines or breaking any rules. Like, this was not the most craziest joke that we've ever heard of him saying. It's not like he was on TV saying, thank God they finally got this nigga, you know? So once the government steps in and starts putting pressure on him just because the chairman didn't like what he said there, and starts threatening, hey, we're gonna start pulling licenses and shit from you because of this. Once the government is putting their thumb on the scale, it changes from being a personal issue between the company and an employee into being a First Amendment issue. Because the whole point of the First Amendment is that the government can't stop you from saying what you want to say. If there was no issue, if Disney did this, and there was no FCC involvement, then there wouldn't be a First Amendment conversation happening right now. We probably no FCC involvement, then there wouldn't be a First Amendment conversation happening right now. We arguing like that kind of bitch made as you're doing that, and the joke ain't even really that bad, but it is what it is. People get fired for saying shit all the time. But the fact that the FCC stepped in and started putting pressure on people because of what they said, and it wasn't something breaking FCC guidelines or breaking any rules, then, you know, that's where the First Amendment. And the fact that y'all are twisting yourselves in knots and doing all these mental gymnastics because it's happening to a guy you don't like speaks volumes to y'all's principles on free speech absolutism. Apparently, you're not that free speech absolutist. Y'all finding all the excuses and valleyways to make it okay that this guy got canceled, his show got canceled because of a joke he made on TV. You looked into it and see the difference now. Good. I'm glad you could do that. I'm not trying to look, bro. I'm not up here just to argue with niggas. I really do want y'all to see how this is different, okay? This is not like anybody else that get fired for saying something stupid on TV. Like, I don't give a fuck about people firing people for saying something stupid on TV. That happens all the time. It's not a big controversy when that happens, when it's a situation just between the company and the employee. But when the fucking government is stepping into it, that's when it becomes an issue. All right, I'll see what this person has to say. Cameron, what's up, man? What's going on?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
So far, so good, man. What you got to say about this?
Man, I don't think that the FCC has any business trying to strong arm Disney or ABC or Nexstar into doing anything, let alone canceling an entire show because of a comment that was made. And to be perfectly honest with you, like, if we're going to be totally real here, what he said on Monday night is far from the most outlandish thing he's ever said. Like, to me, it feels like they just needed an excuse to take action. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, I saw a news clip of another guy. I forgot his name. I saw a news clip of some guy. They were talking about the homeless problem in, I think it was in Phoenix, Arizona or something like that. I can't remember exactly.
The guy said that they should need to, forcibly euthanize all of them?
Yes, he said this on TV. He's literally on TV saying we should kill these people. And the FCC ain't coming and say, hey, man. This is on the news. This isn't a comedy show like Jimmy Kimmel. This is the news.
Yeah, I mean,
that's crazy.
Kimmel has his own issues. You know, obviously he has been very vocal against Trump since the beginning, but it's like people forget, like, there are so many people behind the scenes that just lost their jobs. People that, you know, worked on the post-production side, people that worked on like the production side as far as like, you know, running things back and forth, lighting, sound. You know, I mean, you're talking about dozens and dozens of jobs that are now extinct permanently with no warning, just because of a comment that he made that, again, you know, like I said, was not as outlandish as other things he said in the past.
Yeah, man. And my problem here, like, I understand the regime and the administration that we're under. So this doesn't surprise me that they would do shit like this. What's surprising me are the people defending it and saying, well, actually, it's not that bad. And actually, he had low ratings anyway. And actually, what about when it happened to Roseanne? Like, Come, like this is crazy. These quote unquote free speech absolutists who are okay with people saying whatever crazy shit they want to say, usually is now defending the government stepping in and telling people to cancel their show. Like it's a
Right.
good thing now. Apparently, they're for cancel culture now.
Right.
Apparently,
Yeah. Like yeah, people had no issue with Roseanne or when Tucker Carlson got canceled from Fox News like two or three times or whatever. Like it's all equally bad. It all sucks. This is no different. You know, this is nothing to celebrate. This is nothing to, make light of. I mean, if Disney or ABC, under their own volition as a private company, wanted to can the show, that's one thing. But when you've got the
right?
chairman of the FCC literally saying we can do this the easy way or the hard way, I mean, what are we
Right.
supposed to think?
Yeah, he's talking gangster to Disney, bro. He's like, look, nigga, let me sit you down, bro. I ain't gonna
Exactly.
tell you directly you gotta cancel them, but you gotta do something. You gonna do this
Right.
the easy way, or you gonna do it the hard way?
And to be perfectly honest, like I don't see eye to eye with Kimmel on a lot of stuff, but that doesn't mean that the FCC has a right to step in and cancel his show under their own volition for their own personal reasons. I mean, in what world is that supposed to be okay?
Yeah, and like I'm just trying to get into the mind of the right wing conservative who are usually like these, uh, you know, ultra super defenders of the First Amendment
Hmm.
and free speech.
Exactly.
Like in any other situation, like I've seen people. I don't know if you're familiar with the Shiloh Hendricks situation.
Not very.
With
No.
So it was this lady named Shiloh Hendricks. Basically, this is an offshoot of the Carmelo Anthony situation, and I don't want to get into the details of all that. But
Of
basically,
course.
uh, Shiloh Hendricks was caught in a park, like a playground, calling a black kid the N word. Like, uh, what you call it? Apparently, the kid took something from her kid, and she got mad and called him the N word,
Hmm.
and somebody caught that on camera. And usually, the results of that is like people's jobs getting contacted and stuff like that. So she ended up getting fired and all that stuff. And all these people came back and said, what about free speech, man? You shouldn't lose your job over free speech. Free speech. You should be able to say whatever you want. It's just words. You're so sensitive. They gave her $1 million. They donated $1 million to this lady. Like she had a GoFundMe or something like that for if they donated her a
Man,
million
yeah. I
dollars.
mean,
Those same people,
yeah.
Can I say
yeah,
something?
those same people. Go ahead,
Can I say
MCAT.
something? Yes. I just want to say, this is. I'm actually glad to finally do something because I think the media nowadays is a go too far. That is not help, for this country to heal. The course division, that's a big problem. I mean, I think why this medium, like those people like came up, they have a very kind of like sick personal opinion. I mean, they should have some value, right? Someone can be a mouthpiece that need to be have some value, need to fit this country's core value. Unfortunately, I cannot accept, if someone marks a assassination and said and spin around the narratives again because this is not healthy for American people. We need to actually know what is not right. We should not tolerate it anymore. And
Wait,
I think
MCAT. So are you wait, MCAT. Are you telling me that that it's okay for the government to step in and put pressure on
I think they
companies to
should
fire people for
have
what they
done.
say?
Yes, yes, they
Okay,
should
and
have done earlier.
okay, yes
Can
is all I need.
can I
So,
say something real quick?
are you wait before you do that because I want to run down this. I'm trying to get in the understanding here. MCAT, do you believe in the First Amendment that people should have
I
the
do
right
very
to free
much.
speech? Do you not see how this is a direct infringement of the First Amendment?
Now, I think what came out
Okay,
his
do you want me to
comments
explain to
from.
you how this is a direct
No,
infringement
yeah,
of
let
the
me
Wait,
First
explain.
Amendment?
so
Because they should have some bottom line and then should
Hold
have
up,
some
MCAT.
hate
Hold up,
speech should
MCAT.
never be
This is not hate
be
speech.
tolerated.
You know what? IX, go ahead, bro. Go ahead, IX.
okay, so the reason why I think Jimmy Kimmel had no rights actually rebuked or revoked or like stepped upon is because he still had the ability to say that. They didn't just take that off air on everything. They didn't just like silence it completely. They still have it up. They still let people watch it. But they fired him because it's like if you go to work and you say, "Oh, hey, I hate that person. I want to go kill him." That's still freedom of speech, but that's not freedom of consequences. That means you still have to
I don't know
answer
if
for the
y'all know that
consequences of
y'all
saying,
are all saying the same shit.
So
no,
Uh,
no,
if
no,
I
listen,
can,
listen to this. Listen to this before you interrupt. If I were to go and
if you
say,
were to go to
like,
in the job and say something and they
let's
fired
use
you, it
this,
would be okay. Like
let's say
we know,
this.
like
No, no, no,
we
no. I'm
know.
gonna give you an example
Are you
of
gonna say
how
something
this would
new, bro,
sound.
that we haven't heard before?
Yes, I will. So if
Go ahead.
let's say Kamala Harris dies, and I'm like, you know what? I really didn't like her. I'm glad she died. I'm not gonna go celebrate it, but I'm glad she died. How would that
Mhm.
make me? Would that make me a bad person? Should I get fired for
That's
that? If I
beside the
was on
point.
public television, that's not besides the point because Jimmy Kimmel said well, not word for word because I didn't really research what he said exactly. I just know he said like he's happy Charlie Kirk died because he's a horrible person. That was
Whoa,
his
hang
No,
on,
he
opinion.
time
didn't.
out,
He
time
didn't
That's
out,
say
not
time out,
that.
facts.
hang on.
He didn't
I
say
think
that.
coming
Go
back
ahead,
one
Cameron.
big things is for the
Hold
If
up,
public.
hold
I
up, hold
may,
up, MCAT. Hold up, MCAT. Hold up, MCAT.
so
Go ahead, Cameron.
let me say again that like on a lot of topics, I disagree with Jimmy Kimmel. I do. My issue is not with the idea that he can say whatever he wants because he can. That is his right. But this is not him. You know, it's not an issue of freedom of speech versus freedom of consequences. Disney
And
has every right to fire him if they want. The problem is that the FCC was strong arming Disney, ABC, and Nexstar into doing something about it. And that's where my issue is. If it's Disney on their own volition, by all means, do whatever you feel you need to do as a company. But the
well,
FCC has no right to step in. Any federal organization has no right to step in and try to play an influence on the situation. And that is where the direct violation of the First Amendment comes into play, in my opinion. Do I like the guy? Not particularly. Is this the right move? No, I do not think so.
I
well,
don't
I
agree
get
with
that
you
part,
because
but it's
let me
also
say
goes.
something.
Wait,
I
okay.
don't agree with you. It's a reason because I think you mentioned like consequence. I totally agree. I think it's more like accountability. No, one as a public figures, they have the responsibility for the whole country's people, every Americans, right? If they still trigger, like promoted those kind of sick, to be honest, for me, it's really sick propaganda against the administration, against someone else. I'm not agree with Trump, but I think a lot of things he be judged terribly as well. I just don't. I think it does not help the U.S. American all of us to heal the division. We need to actually land on the same fact, same information. We need actually to be lead to critical thinking and to more constructive to think what is right, what is actually benefit us, what is actually not. And we also, if you look at the Asia, what
So
actually if you look at all this kind of North Korean, China, why the CCP is all landing on the far left, far left. Don't
okay,
tell
let's
me
let's
the
not
CCP
put
is not
politics
far
into
right.
this because here's how I see it. Because
I
you know
just
how
let
you
me
were saying,
finish. Let me
no,
finish.
no, wait.
I just wanted
I
to
do have
say
something to say
the
real quick,
the
just real
far.
quick. It'd be, but
Can you let me
okay,
just finish, please? Thank you. So I just want to say
MCAT.
far
Like
left is a
you got
very
10 seconds,
dangerous.
MCAT. Go ahead.
I just want to say far left is very dangerous. And those people accuse other people the fascist or Nazi, actually themselves, what the behavior is a fascist or Nazi because they don't allow the other people to say. And if you understand what actually the Mao Zedong, the Marxism, he typically to say is like not everyone have a free speech. Only people on his side is have a free speech. If people actually labeled as against him, and everyone have the right to kill him, to against them. So that's reason China had like cultural revolution. And if you can look at it, the people got cleaned up, thousands million people got persecuted. So that's reason I think it need to be very be careful, because the far left usually easy to mingle with the far right, and then who's
Okay.
gain?
MCAT. I gave you your 10 seconds, and
Sure,
everything you
thank
said
you.
really didn't have anything to do with what we were talking about. IX, go ahead
No,
and
I
say
just
what you was going to say.
say
Okay,
want the people to
wait. So MCAP,
promote
MCAP,
that. Let's
just you keep on repeating what you're saying. But here's I'm gonna get to the point that how do you say your name? The top guy on here.
Cameron.
Okay, Cameron. So what you were saying about how the FCC stepped in,
Mhm.
you got to look at from Disney's perspective. I believe it's not. It's just my belief. It's not facts. They asked the FCC to step in because they don't want the backlash put fully on themselves for taking away someone such a high figure part of the left party, that they don't want one
I
side
don't
to
think
come
that's what
after them and they
happened.
don't want the other side. That's just what
Mhm.
I think happened. It's not facts. I'm not going to say it's facts because it's not. But I believe that was somewhat of the how the FCC was brought into it, because I do believe the FCC is smart enough not to get involved unless they are asked to, because of the backlash they would get, and they would want to have someone tell them to come and help them out.
Mhm.
But
But
if
even if that
but
were the
if
case, Disney
but
shouldn't
if
have
free
asked the FCC to
speech,
step in.
well, you got to look at it this way too, because let's use an example. Let's say you get in trouble at school, right? And but it's not really your fault. Well, crap, I'm losing track. I'm on like a couple
Well, I
hours of
mean,
sleep.
that's not what happened anyway, so you don't have to go down that thing. Like, let me read
Okay,
some
yeah,
of
my bad.
the background. So it says, where is it? I just had it. I'm on CNN. And I'm reading the article I have up on the screen here.
Here,
So it
so
says,
while you're looking for it, I can, if I may.
go ahead.
So I live in a metropolitan, larger city in the south of the United States. If I own a business like a restaurant, and in the front window of my restaurant I have a MAGA flag, or I have a Free Palestine flag, or I have whatever flag I want to display whatever message I feel, and then the subsection of the city government that does zoning comes in and shuts down my business because of my flag, that is inherently wrong because it's my right to display and say whatever I want. It's the same thing that we're seeing here. Kimmel, I mean,
Well,
to an extent,
so
has the right. Yeah, go ahead.
so the example you used can't really be used correctly with the analogy you used, because you could use the same analogy and be like, so if I was putting certain flags up and the whatever you said swept around and took it, closed my business down, could you still use that same analogy to be like, hey, I put a Nazi flag up there and said I'm not taking it down. You can take me down if you want to take my flag down. That's the same thing with the Disney part too, because if they're gonna promote people who say, "Hey, I am happy," well, I don't know if he said he's happy, but he said something along the lines of he has no regret this person died, and he supports it somewhat. Is what I'm getting. I don't know if that's a full truth. I do need to do my research. I've just learned this like an hour ago. That's what happened. So I need to do my research. So I'm not coming in here being like, I know what I'm talking about. You can tell me what he
No,
said.
that's
So
not
will
what
you
he
please tell
said.
me what he
I could
said?
I could read it back for you. I could read it back for
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
So
thank you. So I get more.
so real quick, he says, let me see. Many in Magaland are working very hard to capitalize on the murder of Charlie Kirk. That's the first part. Where's the second part? Damn it. I was looking between this and the other article I was looking
So
at.
what he
But
says is that the MAGA group is doing everything they can to paint Tyler Robinson as anything other than one of their
then
own.
one of them, right? Exactly.
Basically, he's insinuating that Tyler Robinson was a huge MAGA supporter, and
But
was
he
not.
wasn't. That was already. I do know this, and I've done my research on this. He wasn't. The
Right. No,
people
I
who
mean, we
were
don't have
and
to
I
get
covering
agree.
into
up.
whether or not he
So
was or not. We don't have to get into that.
So I think
Yeah, yeah.
I want to come back to the topic here, right? I think what we talk about here is like as
MCAT,
an
I swear,
individual.
if you bring up China and the far left, I'm going to remove you. I'm not gonna
No,
lie.
Yeah,
Like, you're talking
no,
about
yeah.
as
other
an
shit.
You keep on bringing
independent.
up the same stuff and repeating yourself.
No,
I
I
get
want
where
to
they're
say
coming
is
from.
as
It's
an
kind of gets annoying.
individual, as an
Like I fully
individual.
support what you're saying somewhat, but it gets annoying when you say the same thing over and over again.
No,
I
I
see
can
where they're
say
coming
as
from.
an individual, like what he said, he can say whatever he wants to say. But as a public figure, you know, he have a responsibility, accountability for not only him as a public, it's all these people to say now the cause of country division. Why? Because they promoted the biased, the opinion. And a lot of people don't do that research. A lot of people don't really even watch what actually Charlie Kirk actually said, all these videos. They have no interest. People just heard from him and then become toxic. People hate each other. This is not right. This is not right. This is just what I want to say. So he need to be take down. That I think people already have so much in this country complained about this medium, how the angles they used, but there was no change in the past few years. So now it does need to make a change. No matter it's as FCC, you agree or not, or someone else, I think it's time to make a change. It cannot last like that.
MCAT, I completely agree with you. Disney has the right to do whatever they want with their programming, but it should never come at the behest of a government entity that is telling them what to do. It's a direct infringement on our First Amendment. The government has no right to control or tell us what we are or are not allowed to say, however in poor taste it may be. I wholeheartedly disagree with how Kimmel presented himself on Monday night. He spread misinformation that was widely already known. He should have never done that. But again, it should not be up to the government to make the decision or make the final swing in his career and in the jobs of the countless people who work really hard who had nothing to do with what he was saying on stage. There are tons of interns, lighting technicians, gaff technicians, runners, all these people who work tirelessly at their jobs who are now out of work permanently because of something that he said at the behest of the government saying we need to do something or else it's going to get messy. That's just not right.
Yeah, it says FCC Chair Brendan Carr went onto a conservative podcast and threatened to pull ABC affiliate broadcast licenses. That the matter really escalated. Then Nexstar, the station group which airs Jimmy Kimmel Live in approximately 24 markets, announced that they would not air the show. Carr publicly stating that Disney was at risk to lose its local broadcast licenses was a real and serious threat for all of ABC. A source familiar with the... wait, I'm not done. It isn't just about Jimmy Kimmel. It's about all of ABC and all of the shows and its employees. Another source privy to the ongoing conversation of the company said. It was another part I wanted to get in here. It says, it was then Disney executives had conversations with Kimmel about taking down the temperature of his monologue, according to the individual. Nexstar announced its plan to pull Kimmel's show at the same time. So this wasn't before. Disney wasn't saying, you need to chill out before they were threatening them. They were getting threats. This happened at the same time. They were... Disney basically was reacting like, hey, this is gonna blow up into something. That's when Disney CEO Bob Iger and Disney Entertainment co-chairman Dana Walden made the decision to preempt the show indefinitely in hopes of protecting Kimmel and Disney from accelerating controversy. So, like, the story of, like, first, again, there's nothing in here saying that they were breaking any FCC guidelines. There's nothing in here saying that Disney just was like, oh, I can't believe you said this. We're gonna get you before they get you. Like, none of these stories that everybody is coming up with happened, actually. It literally is just, they got pressure from people saying, hey, we're going to pull your licenses if you don't do something about this. And then they did something about it afterwards. That's literally what happened.
Okay, I see. Thank you for actually clarifying that, not like berating me for not knowing what I'm talking about. Thank you for actually educating me with that. Because now I see where you're coming from, that, yeah, government shouldn't get involved where it's like so minor that they should fire everyone a part of it. They should hire a new spokesperson for them and not pull out the whole jobs for everyone.
Right. I mean, if anything, Disney could have had Kimmel like take a suspension, take a sabbatical, take time off, bring in guest hosts or whatever. There's no reason for the government to push for all these other people to lose their jobs as well. I mean, Jimmy Kimmel's not the only one working on his show.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
could have just came back and
You know,
apologized and said, "Oh, I was so wrong. I didn't mean to say
Well,
that," and that would have been the end of it.
that also doesn't work too, just because you could like people would take it as, oh, this guy's just apologizing. He's not apologizing because he's sorry. He's just apologizing to keep a job. He could have taken like a suspension, made sure he was out of the spotlight, didn't say anything for a couple like weeks, just to have
Mhm.
it like it all cool down and actually think about what he said and come out with an actual apology without having the people think that he's just apologizing to keep a job. And he could say, well, I'm not going to be a direct spokesman anymore until I earn your people's trust back, but I will still be like telling people the news and trying to earn back your trust with not reporting on false stuff and making a situation worse. You should not be inciting the spreading of false information based off feelings. You should
Right.
be
I also wanted to add in one point here, about whether Disney should actually take action, not the FCC. I mean, I just want to say, Disney just an individual company. The leadership, whether the person who have a power in the company's ideology could actually impact the whole company. You cannot just rely on the Disney to make the decision because Disney is not different like us. It's a
well,
still individual. So I think
MCAT.
myself
If you
actually
if you
totally.
look at it this way, because now that I'm getting more, I can actually understand it more. If Disney, like you're saying that Disney can't handle it by themselves, if it's such a small matter like this where someone says something bad, where it's not like so much like he was celebrating, he was just making like kind of a joke because that's how he is. That should have been fully Disney alone making that decision, not whole government coming in to shut down stuff to take people's jobs away.
But let me ask you, if Disney don't do anything, it has been
Mhm.
for years. They did not
Actually,
do
Disney
anything.
has done stuff. They've tried changing to fit the more woke agenda to make everyone included, but that backfired on them. So now they're changing it to where they actually produce more stuff. They do change, they do learn from their mistakes. But this one, the
Disney
FCC
just trying to get
stepped in.
money. They're gonna do
Yeah,
whatever it takes to keep getting that money.
And
yeah, but
Exactly.
FCC
and
stepped in too
Exactly.
fast for this.
even if
FCC stepped in
Exactly.
too fast for this.
Even if
They will
Disney
not
had
free.
done nothing, if Disney did nothing about it, then it's up to us as the viewers to stop watching, let ratings plummet, and then let these corporations see that we are upset and it is reflecting in our ratings and our revenue coming in. That's the way it's
Yeah.
supposed to
You
work.
know,
It should never be
And
this
a
country is a
they have
50
learned too
50
from that
divide,
type of
division.
that type of approach too, because when people did that with like Ironheart, for example, they let the actor go on stage and say people that don't watch it and just don't watch it because they don't like the narrative, what the story's going to, you are bigoted and hate all women. And they let them say that, but when they got backlash for that, they came out with a formal apology for the actor and said, "Hey,
exactly.
we don't support this. We support the fact that they're right, like activating for the right of women, but we don't support the you should like do hate speech
Exactly.
to support that."
So probably that's the reason why Disney takes his shoe down, because his shoe actually is very low rate at the moment. If you look at, I think I see some numbers said it's only actually over 200,000 view for since January for this.
Well, yeah,
So
all of late night
so
TV is down in ratings right now, but that's just
so
the
I
state
just
of the world.
so same thing come back to you, that logic you provided. You should let the viewer to speak. I totally agree. However, in this country it's 50-50. So the problem is like for this kind of like a far left agenda or these people biased, ideology, they still have their audience. That's just kind of like how ridiculous at this moment the United States. We cannot land
Yeah,
on
I mean, who
one
cares?
piece of the
MCAT,
flag.
MCAT, unfortunately, MCAT. Who cares? The point is, we have a First Amendment for a reason. There's a reason that it's first. Actually, like for situations like this, the government shouldn't be stepping in matters of free speech at all. Period. No,
Right.
Well,
unless it's
the
like a hate speech situation, then there's
okay,
caveats.
there
But
we go.
this isn't a hate speech situation.
I mean,
Like there,
if
this
if
is.
if it ended up being that big of a deal, Disney and ABC should have just removed Kimmel, found a new host. But there's no need to get rid of dozens
they
of
canceled the whole
jobs.
show.
You know, yeah. There's no reason to cancel the whole show.
Well,
There are
we're
so many
also
other viable
taking the
options.
blame away from Disney if they do lose their shows, because if Disney can't find them jobs inside their own company, that means they're a bad company, and we should hate on them too. But we shouldn't hate on them for the fact that it got shut down.
Right.
Yeah,
You
but
are
like
exactly
all of
correct.
this, like and I like the conversation we having right now, but unfortunately, I don't really want to talk too much about the minutia of the mechanics behind this. I'm
Right.
more of trying to speak on the thought process behind the person who's supposed to be the free speech absolutist. MCAT agreed that she agreed with the First Amendment and believe people should have free speech, but are
Mhm.
also coming in now and saying, actually, well, it's good that they got rid of his show this time because of this and this and this and this. Like, how do you square that circle? How are you this free speech person who loves being
I
able to say
think
whatever you want?
I want to ask all of you a question. So, what's your bottom line about free speech? Do you think a mock someone get assassination
okay,
is okay with
MCAT,
that? Simply question.
MCAT, he didn't really mock it. He just
He
was
did.
making a joke on how. No,
It's
MCAT,
not a joke. If you look,
listen
I
for a
watched
Wait,
second.
the, I
Listen
watched
for a
this year.
second, MCAT.
Wait, IX,
Listen.
hold up. Let me ask MCAT a question. MCAT, repeat back the joke he said.
That is not a joke.
Repeat
But
the joke he
repeat
said.
it.
Repeat back what he said. I need to know if you know what he actually said before we continue this.
Yes, I watched the clip. I watched it actually.
Repeat it.
I don't need to repeat
Repeat
that
it for
because
me.
it's a
Look,
character.
I'm
If
gonna
you
give
can't
you a
repeat
second to
if
look
you
it up
can't
and
repeat
repeat
it,
it.
He's bringing the narrative back to MAGA, and then it typically saying the people
MCAT,
actually mourn about.
MCAT. I can't have a conversation with you if I don't know if for sure that you actually even know what he said and that
Of
you're going
course,
off
I
vibes
watched.
right now. What if you
I
can't
think
tell me at least a abridged version of the joke that he said? I gotta get you out of the
Firstly,
conversation.
it's not a joke, okay?
MCAT. So
You
let me
said
give you
we
an
heard it the
abridged
first 5
version
times you said
because
that.
from what I heard from him, what he was saying, the abridged version was he was making a joke on how the American people that supported Charlie Kirk were making money off of it by playing on the feelings of other people who supported Charlie Kirk. He was making that joke, and some people took it too serious, and
Yeah.
the FCC went in and shut him down.
He was saying the people actually, sad about the Chad Kurd assassination is like a 4 years old who actually just sad about a goldfish that. Do you think that
What?
Here's the thing: no one
do you
has
think
to
this
feel
is
sorry, but
appropriate?
they don't. Here's the
That is
thing: no one.
assassination. It's a
MCAT,
person
MCAT.
dead.
I support Charlie Kirk. I listen to him every single day. I'm super sad he died, but no one has to be forced to feel sympathy for someone that they don't like, but don't they don't need to make
Right.
jokes
Okay.
about it.
That's
And
no
and
humility.
if I may
That's not only
also,
that's a humility.
somebody being inappropriate and insensitive, unfortunately, is not them breaking the law.
Yeah, so it does, but he's not fit for this
It's
job.
when they
That's
became
simply
hateful
No.
towards the person's
that's
death.
reason he got
And
suspended.
MCAT, I don't know if you know, it's not against the law to make fun of dead people. I don't know if you know that. It's not against the law.
if it was,
Okay,
I'd
so
be in jail
not
for
but
making
like back
Hitler
what I
jokes.
said. As a public figure, you have accountability. Not
Okay,
only
so
for
for
being
so
greedy to
MCAT,
say something. You can say at home.
MCAT, let me explain something to you about the law.
Law is the lowest. Law is
Just
the
because
lowest
you're
and the
higher
mod.
just because you're higher on the social status doesn't change the laws for you.
Right.
You can still make those jokes, but it's highly frowned upon to make those jokes on public television. You can still make those jokes, but you shouldn't get in trouble by law, government, for saying those jokes.
All right, and go ahead, Courtney. You just
Law
jumped
is
in.
always the
Okay,
bottom.
MCAT. We're done with you. Go ahead, Courtney. You can go next.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Need to be ethnical, okay?
Can you hear me?
I hear you. Go ahead.
Are we just giving our opinion on what's happening with the Jimmy Kimmel thing, or
Your mic is kind of low.
yeah,
if
that's
you
why
can.
I asked. Sorry, let me just take my headphones out. Okay, can you hear me better now?
Much better.
Yeah.
That's better. That's better.
All right. They work sometimes and then they don't. Okay, so we just given our opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So before I go straight into Kimmel, I want to just say, because obviously a lot of people have lost their jobs. So up until Kimmel, I've been like fine with it. But watching this, I was kind of like, ooh, are we getting to dangerous lines now?
100% agree.
So my thoughts, like I watched the whole video, and I mean, I think it's stuff we see on TV, on these late night talk shows every day, basically. It was very harmless. And I mean, sensitive maybe to some, but like who would cry? Weird. But yeah, so I think what where the lines get really blurry for me is, I mean, social media rules, regulations at jobs have been in effect for many of years. We all have like company policies we have to follow. So I'm
Hmm.
sure the company is going to be able to pin it into some type of policy that was broken, however they want to spin it. But which is wrong in my opinion. But what I have the issue with is, and I've thought this for years, and just to be fully transparent, I've voted red since Obama's first or second term,
Hmm.
so I lean towards that side. But I think the lack of accountability for the things that we're putting out in public on public platforms has really been lost with social media. The accountability that people have just isn't there. I don't care for Biden. It wasn't my cup of tea, but watching the things that people would go on a public platform and just openly say has always been quite shocking to me. There's no respect for people
Hmm.
anymore. And in my opinion, whether you like our president or don't like him, there should be a certain level of respect for people in positions like that.
Right.
Um,
Respect the position, not necessarily the person.
correct. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think like
Okay. Oh, sorry. Go
You
ahead.
can't respect someone so much that you start worshiping them, and every decision you make is based off what they say.
Oh, of course. I just think it's something that needs to be like pulled into the conversation as an aspect that people need to be looking at.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, what do you have on this Jimmy Kimmel thing? I didn't know. I don't know what that.
Oh,
I'm trying to
yeah.
see. Have you connect the dots there?
Oh, yeah, of course. Like, I personally don't think he should have lost his job. I think that we're definitely walking into a territory that can be going way too far into crossing anybody's First Amendment. So I think on both sides here, all parties need to actively be participating and watching what's happening, because this is going to affect everybody regardless who you vote for.
Right, because now where do you draw the line now? You know,
Exactly.
this person said something I don't like on national TV, and the government shut them down. So now, what else can we do? What else can we get away with?
Can I say something real quick? Like they should treat it like how they treat Donald Trump when he comes online. People don't like what he says, but they still let him go on
Oh, he says
because
some
he's not
wild
saying
stuff.
he says some wild stuff, but it's not so much like untruthful because he's the one making the plan, so it can't be considered untruthful until proven otherwise.
Right. And all you have to do is pay no mind to it or downplay it, in your own personal life. Like nothing that Donald Trump has ever said on Truth Social or on Twitter is going to keep me up at night or make me cry as I'm driving to my job. Nothing that Jimmy Kimmel said on Monday night is going to keep me up at night or make me sick to my stomach. Like I have all the power in the world to let something either make me feel something or not make me feel something. And that's the same as every other American. They're just words. It's not, at the end of the day, it's not that deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam, you want to jump in on this real quick, and then I'll pass it back to you, Courtney. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
cutting you off.
Yeah, hey guys, I just wanted to say, like, I've been looking for an example of the government trying to shut down TPUSA in its 15-year history. I can't find that. But all of a sudden, Jimmy gets canceled by the federal government,
Hmm.
and it's somehow not a problem for MAGA. I don't understand this.
Yeah. And
I do
like
have
Yeah.
something to say for like
MAGA's
sorry, I
obviously
keep
not
on
a bad
interjecting,
thing. Sorry.
but the only way I could see it, the government now actually like being justified of taking away Jimmy Kimmel's like ability to like tell the news is if they went back like to his past news reports and him being hateful online, and this was just like the cherry on top, that's the only time I could see that this will be justified. Because
Right.
if they did the research on what he said in the past and it's just like, oh, this is a recurring thing over and over again with him, that it's just trying to incite violence in his viewers to make it so everyone would hate a certain person enough to push people to do violent acts.
Right. It's not like there was a call to action when he was speaking.
No, but since he said something about someone who had who had just died and everyone's like feelings are up in arms about it, he should have personally just waited until this died down and started making jokes about it, like people do with World War II,
Hmm.
MLK, with a
Of
bunch
course.
of higher upper figures. They should have just waited. And his PR manager, after reading the script he was about to say, should have told him, "This isn't a good idea. You should not say this until the everyone's feelings die down and where people can start joking about it." Because Charlie Kirk, in a lot of people's opinions, was a political father for a lot of people. So it's like you stepped on the grave of someone's father. That's how a lot of people feel about it.
Yeah,
But
but
it's not.
Courtney, you had a
the
statement you wanted to make, Courtney?
Yeah,
yeah,
sorry about that.
no, that's okay. I kind of just want to respond back to what I'm just going to say IX because that's the first two letters I see of your name
Yeah.
is. Like, at what point do we stop taking people's feelings into account here? Because everybody feels differently. What
Well,
one
with his
person might
job,
take
it's based off
1
of
week.
feelings. It's not like something like construction where it's based off what things are supposed to be done. It's based off feelings of how Jimmy Kimmel reported it. That's how he became so famous because he played with the heartstrings of people, making them laugh, making them happy, because that was what his whole thing was, playing on people's feelings. But he played
Yeah.
with people's feelings too much, and his job got lost because of it.
Well, but I have a question here though, because would we here on this panel care if the network fired him for this and there was no government interference? Because personally, I don't care about Kimmel.
Right,
that
me
was
too. That's what I'm
wouldn't.
saying. That's
Yeah,
what
I
the
I'm
wouldn't
saying.
government.
because
Fire
that's
him. I
their
don't care.
that's their job, enforcing their like rules of like being employed there. That's where I would get it.
Right, because it's a private
Like,
decision. But this was not a private decision. It was basically a threat from the feds.
right,
So
exactly. That's the point I'm making, bro. If we had no government involvement in this at all, this wouldn't even be a conversation. I wouldn't be talking about this shit. People
so
get
may I
But we
fired
ask you
for
a
can't take
stupid
it.
question?
shit they
We
say
can't
all the
take
So
it to
time.
the wait. We can't take it to the other extreme where we blame all government. It was just the FCC. We have to make the FCC accountable. We can't just force. We can't just force hate upon all government because a lot of
Well, that's
government does do good for people.
I don't think
so
we're saying that. I don't think we're saying that.
so
It's
may
just
No,
go
I'm
ahead.
just letting it be known that we shouldn't do that
so
because
may
I know sometimes people take the extreme from one side and force it to the other side.
So may I ask you guys a question? So if we know, okay, like if you guys don't support actually government intervene at this moment, so I just like ask you a question. So if a medium keep
Okay, if you say the same
actually,
stuff again, I'm going to
now
be
I'm
mad.
asking
I'm
a
not
question.
gonna lie.
If a medium
I'm gonna
going
remove
to,
your ass. I ain't gonna cap. I'm getting tired of hearing you say the same shit over and over. I'm gonna remove you if you don't got something new to say.
I'm asking you a question. You can, I don't know your answer. I want to know your answer.
Okay, ask us, MCAT.
We've
Yes.
given you
So
answers to the question,
if
every single question you've asked, but you keep on asking
if
over
a
and over again.
medium continually to provoke the, I would say,
We've already
certain
answered
level
this
of hate,
because
and then the company do not be responsible, because company do not
the
actually
company
do
was already
any,
trying to take
do not
responsibility
do
for it, but then
anything,
the
and just
FCC
leave
stepped
it,
in too fast.
just leave it. And then I ask you a question. So what are you going to do? Who is going to be keep those people actually, or the company,
But Kat, can I ask
accountable?
you? Kat, can I ask
Cancel
you a
Which
culture.
question?
party
We
in the
would
United
the
States?
It's
people
not
would.
about parties. It's about the people's feelings and how the people feel about it because the people control
The
the
ratings.
company.
We control the ratings at the end of the
Yeah.
day. So if
for
you
We
don't like
control the
it,
money flow.
don't watch it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for example, his show from the January already actually every his shows is not just around like 200K views. It's pretty few. Actually, several, or it's like even less than that. Then people already choose not to Do you think the company should just keep it on continually? Or not? If the company think the
Yes.
person there, okay, if the company
MCAT.
leader,
Okay,
I
MCAT.
just
MCAT. I feel like you don't understand. You're allowed to say mean things to people, even if they're not alive anymore. Like you're saying that because his views are already low, that us saying that we're not going to watch it isn't doing anything. The point is, in America, you have the First Amendment right to be an asshole. You have the First Amendment right to say terrible things. So just because us not watching it isn't destroying him, that doesn't mean, like there's this great injustice happening. Unfortunately, we're allowed to be terrible people and say bad things about people when they lose their life. That's a part of the First Amendment. So, like you saying, well, his views are already low. What are we supposed to do now? You're supposed to keep not watching it until it eventually implodes. That's what you're supposed to do. You
Yeah.
can't. This doesn't mean the government gets to step in and say, "Okay, we really got to pull a plug on this." Like, we don't. There's no excuse for the FCC stepping in and putting pressure on them and saying they were talking to Disney gangster talking about you gonna do this the easy way or the hard way. Are we being serious right now?
Now, even if he was actually, because we all know if you've watched the clip, he was just making a jab at Trump. It was very lighthearted, in my opinion, at least. But if he were actually celebrating Kirk's death, for example, the FCC still shouldn't have stepped in. It still should have just solely fallen on the employer to make the decision whether they kept him or let him go. And if they kept him and you were unhappy with that decision, then your choice would have been to complain your little heart out or not watch him.
so you give all the power to the employer.
Because they
That is
own
not
it. If
right.
I own a restaurant, I can discriminate against whoever I want to. I can stand in that place and say, I hate this race, this sexuality, that sexuality. Nobody can shut me down, but there will be consequences because those races, those sexualities aren't going to want to come into my business. So guess who isn't going to be earning money? Me. So that would be the consequences of my own actions.
So you think actually the money control everything,
No,
and the every
we have a
employer
constitution.
they can just be them
We have
God
a
themselves
constitution.
God. They have no control. I'm
M,
totally not agree with that.
We have a constitution. That's the foundation of this country. We have the Bill of Rights, the First Amendment. The First Amendment
Yeah.
protects us as citizens from government interference on our speech and who we hang out with, basically. So that's a fundamental right in this country. It's part of our culture. It's something that I think we all agree on. Now, you may not. I don't know where you come from. I don't know your background, but that's just why we're having such an issue with this particular case. There have been many people who've been suspended and canceled over the last 10 years, 15 years for various things, okay? But those were done privately. They didn't have government interference. This is a
Yeah, because
case
the
that's
only
very
way to get
clear.
canceled is by the people, not by the government. The government will fire
Exactly.
you. The people of the United States will cancel you. That's the Constitution is written so the people have the power, not the government.
And free speech is, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's fully protected outside of like two basic arenas, which would be hate speech, which would be very deliberately stating hate to a generalized population, minority, anything. Or if you directly threaten somebody. I could tell
Like
everybody on
terroristic
this
threats. Yeah.
panel that I want to kill them, but I'm not threatening them. Now, if I say I'm going to get a gun, be at your house at 7 p.m., you're going to be dead, then I would have made an active threat on your life.
That is inciting violence.
Yeah, and
Yes.
But
Right.
Courtney,
Exactly.
I'm not even sure that
the
hate
I think
speech
we
only
is
have a
yeah,
protected.
the
different
only wait,
Hate speech has been
MCAT,
added in.
let
understanding
me
about the
give
free
you an
speech.
example that will easily tell you something that will easily disprove everything you just said. Only jobs that do not have free speech are government jobs because the government owns them. Those are the only ones
That's
that
not
do not
true.
have the right to have free speech that where they can say what they want is government run. That is only jobs. Jobs run by people, not government owned people, The only jobs you're allowed to have free speech in.
And to an extent, I think like something that's being lost here as well. It's like something that's so clear to everybody, but kind of just gets forgotten. Jimmy Kimmel is very much like the media. Who controls the media? The government at the end of the day. It's just they're becoming so much more obvious about it because they, in a
Actually,
sense, like don't care
the
anymore. So they're just telling us what they're
the
doing.
funny thing about that, the media is not run by the government. The government has interjected themselves and made that normalized so much people think that now and will not question it. The media was not originally run by the
Yup. Let's try this one more time. Invite Buffy Summers. Why? I don't know who that is. But shouts out to her though. But anyway. Yup. We here again. You talking about this Charlie Kirk shit again? Sorry, not Charlie Kirk. This Jimmy Kimmel thing again. Come on, man. Again, man. I'm getting so many examples of people twisting themselves up in knots. People who consider themselves free speech advocates and free speech absolutists. I'm getting people twisting themselves up into knots, explaining why this guy getting canceled is good, actually, and how that's not hypocritical to their worldview. You know, I'm seeing a lot of these people using leftist language, using quote unquote leftist language, quote unquote liberal Democrat language of you're not free from, you have freedom of speech and not freedom of consequence. You know, that's what us dirty, filthy leftists and liberals say when we catch people out saying the N-word and then they get fired. You know, and then one of you come behind and say, well, you shouldn't be able to get fired from what you say outside of work, and you shouldn't be able to get fired for free speech. You're supposed to have free speech. It's just a word. You're so sensitive and snowflakes. These same people are okay with canceling people now, apparently. I guess the principle has changed. You know, and I haven't been able to get anybody to, you know, square that circle for me and make that make sense. Like, explain to me how the free speech advocates, the free speech absolutists, the people who don't have a problem when people are saying terrible things, they're usually like, you know, I may not like what you say, but I'm going to defend your right to say it. Those people, they're saying, well, actually good that he got fired from this. It's good that they canceled his show from this. Canceling people is good, actually. We like cancel culture now, actually. Like, I need y'all to make that make sense. Because the stories I've been getting from people, the explanations that I've been getting from people, it is not doing it. Okay? Shout out to Tony for liking the live. Shout out to you. You know what I'm saying? Help your boy out. You know I'm a struggling streamer. L Flush. What's up? What's going on, L Flush? I'm a struggling streamer. Tina. What's going on, Tina? I'm trying to get my numbers up. I'm trying to get people. M8. Okay. M8283. Porta Power. Aren't we all? Elisma. That's an interesting name. EB, nope. Okay, people are starting to roll in a little bit. Okay, I see. Kelly Hall, shout out to you. People are starting to roll in on here. I don't know if it's my connection that's just bad. I'm getting everybody name is showing up late, but shout out to all of y'all. Shout out to EB, shout out to Nope. But yeah, like, I want to have a conversation. I'm not here to debate about Charlie Kirk. I don't care about, I'm not digging into the details about Charlie Kirk. I'm done with the Charlie Kirk conversation. I'm not talking about that shit no mo. I'm not here to debate about the details about Charlie Kirk. I'm not here to debate, you know, hold up, who's this? Tony. I'm going to let a couple more people jump in before I start letting people come on. Can you come in? I just want to get a few more people in here before I start letting people on. Just before I actually start talking to you individuals, I just want to lay out what the mission statement is here with this live. Like, again, I think he spoke more of Trump, though. Like, I'm sure, yeah, he kind of was. Like, he was really making fun of the fact that they was asking Trump what he thought about Charlie Kirk. And he was like, yeah, that's pretty bad. Anyway, we're building a beautiful ballroom over here. You should see the construction going on. It's amazing. Like, bro, really didn't give a fuck about Charlie Kirk at all. But that's not unexpected to me, because he also didn't know about those Democratic representative that got assassinated. He didn't know about that either. They asked him, like, why didn't you ask people to lower their flags for them, considering you asked people to lower their flags for Charlie Kirk, who wasn't a politician, who wasn't actually in politics. Like, he was just a dude that talked about politics. And he was like, oh, well, I didn't know about those guys. If somebody would have told me about them, I would have did it. Like, he found out about this Charlie Kirk shit on social media the same way we did. So I can't even really be mad at him about that. Big media group needs FCC on their side. FCC leader, no like Jimmy. Big media group can Jimmy. Pretty much they're like, it was the national news and revolved with people around him. He's obviously lying. I mean, maybe he might be lying about that. But it's not hard for me to believe that he genuinely didn't know, because I don't think he knew about this Charlie Kirk shit until it went viral. Like he found out about it on social media like everybody else did. Like, Charlie Kirk was not actually his friend. If your friend lose their life to violence like that, you're not gonna say, you know what, yeah, that was pretty sad that they died. Anyway, look at what we're doing over here. Like, you don't talk like that about somebody who was like your actual real life friend. So it's not hard for me to believe he actually didn't know about that. But if he did, that just makes it worse. But yeah, the conversation I'm trying to have is about the fact that the FCC stepped in and started talking gangster to Disney and ABC and started threatening people and started telling people, we're gonna pull your licenses. He's talked to him before and invited him to the White House. I mean, they invite niggas to the White House all the time. They invited Eazy-E to the White House. Do you think like Ronald Reagan was Eazy-E's friend in real life? Like, that don't really mean shit. They invite people to come to the White House all the time. Like, having a conversation with somebody doesn't make them your friend. I don't know. I'm not trying to beat up on you, but like, maybe you think more of that relationship than Trump actually did. But at any rate, again, it's not even about that. These free speech warriors, these free speech activists, man, they're over here crying, oh my God, I can't believe you said that on TV. You can't say that on TV. Join through the invite. Oh, my bad, bro. I wasn't trying to invite people. Like, if you want to stick around and talk in the shit, you can. I'm really just going to be talking myself, unless a lot of people jump up here, and then I'll start letting people up. But if it's not a lot of people, then it's going to be a monologue. But yeah, like, I'm really just having issues with people who are calling themselves free speech activists and free speech absolutists, who in any other situation have no problem with people saying whatever they want, even if it's egregious, even if it's about people who died, even if it's about dead people. They have no problem talking crazy, or with other people talking crazy. Or they'll say that they may not like it, but I mean, he has the right to do that. Like, they'll do that then. But when it's Jimmy Kimmel, when it's somebody that they see as on the left or as a liberal Democrat, when they say something that they don't like, they're calling for him to lose their job. It's the same thing with the people who are making jokes on social media and any other situation. If people are making jokes on social media about people who lost their life, it's it's just comedy, guys. It's just a joke. You can't say that. You can't say, what about comedy? What about free speech? Why did Jimmy Kimmel cheer when Tucker Carlson lost his job? I don't know, and I don't really care. Like, I don't care if people cheer when people lose their jobs for what they say. I'm just asking for consistency. Like, you're either gonna say nobody should lose their job because of what they say, or not care when anybody lose their job for what they say. So if y'all gonna hold that sentiment and bring up him cheering when Tucker Carlson lost his job, and make it seem like it was okay, or it wasn't okay when he did that, then you shouldn't be okay with this either. You have to be consistent. So was Laura Loomer joking about committing a Holocaust? Yeah, show wasn't doing well. Person's a private corporation. Oh my God, you people are stupid. Okay. You're trying and failing to flip our logic. Okay. That's our line. We're the ones who say it's a private corporation. They can do what they want. That's what we say. The difference is, in this situation, we have a government entity stepping into the conversation. So it's not just a private corporation doing what they want. People get fired for what they say all the time. Y'all were just cheering about getting people fired for joking about Charlie Kirk. Like, it is what it is. I think it's dumb, but it is what it is. That happens. Unfortunately, sometimes you gotta control what you say on the internet. But I'm consistent about that. Like, I'm not gonna care if a racist gets fired for saying racial slurs, and I'm not gonna really care about a person who lose their job from joking about Charlie Kirk. Like, you're taking a risk doing that on social media. That's why I'm going out of my way to not do that. I mean, I wouldn't get fired for no shit like that anyway, but I also don't believe it, so it's not hard for me to do. But I'm being consistent is my point. I don't care either way. But you guys, y'all care when it's people you like. When it's people you like, then it's censorship. When it's people you like, it's, oh my God, free speech is under attack. When it's people you like, it's, oh my God, you can't say anything now. Everything's so sensitive. It's free speech. What happened to free speech? Everybody's so sensitive. It was a joke. Oh my God, why are you so sensitive? And then when it's people you don't like, it's good. He should get it. What he said was disrespectful and uncouth. He should lose his job. It's freedom of speech, not freedom of consequences. You see how you're talking out of both sides of your neck here, depending on the person that you're talking about? You know? If this is a principle that you have, it's supposed to apply equally, no matter who it's being applied to. Fox News speaker said, just kill him about the homeless. Yes! It's fucking exactly. It's fucking exactly, bro. This dude went on the news. Jimmy Kimmel is running a comedy show, right? This guy on Fox News, he was on the news saying that we should give homeless people the lethal injection. Just kill them. He's literally, inciting violence. Literally inciting violence. It wasn't like an interpretation. He literally says, just kill him. And he got to come back and keep his job and say, I'm sorry, y'all. I ain't mean to say it like that. You know, y'all, I really meant to say it like this. Like, come on, I'm sorry, guy. Like, he got to come back and apologize. But because he's on a certain side, people are like, okay, well, he apologized. Shit. Damn, what more do you want from us? It's just funny. That's just funny to me. Your opinion on humor does not change other people's. Let's see. He ain't even funny. I mean, you don't have to be funny. Unfortunately, there are a lot of comedians that I think aren't funny who are very popular. You know, like what's his name? Kevin Hart is one of the least funny. He used to be funny, but now he's trash. But unfortunately, they keep giving him movies. They keep giving him millions of dollars. Apparently, people like that shit. What are you gonna do? It's funny that he jokes about killing homeless people. I don't think that bro was joking about killing homeless people. I think he actually was being serious. They were having a conversation about what to do with the homeless people, and like it wasn't no joke that came before then. Like he had a serious face. He wasn't grinning when he said it. Like he literally just said, yeah, we just need to involuntarily give them the lethal injection. Like we need to just kill them. Like matter of factly, like nobody laughed afterwards. No, there was no context to make that seem like a joke. Let's see, Fox News dude should have been fired if Kimmel was going to get canceled. Exactly. Yeah, Kevin Hart been unfunny. Yeah, Kevin Hart hasn't been funny for like 15 years, but I'm talking about you. Why do you think that's funny? Why do I think what's funny? Let's see. Trump signed an executive order to stop government censorship. Fox News dude. I don't know if Fox News dude was trying to be funny though. That's the thing. I don't think the dude on Fox News was trying to be funny. I think he really meant that shit. I don't think he was trying to tell a joke. Like, there was no lead up to it being a joke. There was no setup for a punchline. The people who was talking before him didn't say anything funny to make it seem like it was a joke. Let me say, he should have just been fired. That's what I'm saying. Why do you think it's funny, though? I don't understand. Like, I feel like you're trying to... he incited violence, and violence occurred. Yeah. Oh, that's what you're talking about. Yeah, no, I don't. Oh, you're asking me, why do I think that's funny? I don't think that's funny. I don't think it's funny to get on TV and say we should kill people. Obviously. Like, I don't think it's funny to to say, hey, those people over there, let's just kill them. We can't think of anything else to do with them. Like, that's not funny. But he was able to get back on TV the next day and say, I'm sorry, y'all. I ain't mean to say it like that. It was cool when he did it. But, you know, Jimmy Kimmel gets on TV and says, hey, I'm glad we can agree on something. Yeah, why you came up here trying to argue with me, man? Motherfuckers is trying to... Look, man, this is what I'm learning about this social media thing. When you stop going into this stuff looking for an argument, you start to understand people more. Like we've built like a debate. Like, this is the irreparable damage that Steven Crowder and Ben Shapiro and all these fucking debate bro shows have done to the discourse. They think that dunking on people and epically owning people is having a good conversation, you know, and it's not. When you don't go into a conversation looking to epically dunk on somebody and to own them, you know, then you actually can learn something and understand. Like, people have this thing where they say, well, I don't understand this, and can somebody explain this to me? And won't let the person explain it. Like, they just want a vehicle for them to air out all their grievances. They don't want to actually listen to the person explain the shit. They're not trying to have a conversation. That's like a veiled way of saying an argument. Like, they're trying to say an argument, but posing it as a question. It's intentional inflammatory rhetoric that is spewed. ABC and Disney are so greedy for money. Like, they don't have enough of it. Yeah, that's why Disney, like, I feel like Disney, here's the thing. Disney didn't have to fire, bro. Disney, even with the pressure getting pushed on from FCC, all the FCC was saying was they didn't directly tell them to fire, bro. The FCC was just like, look, man, we don't really like what he's saying. Like, you need to do something about this. And what they decided to do about this was just delete the whole shit. Instead of giving him a chance to apologize or giving him a chance to say something else and take it back, you know, they were trying to protect their bottom line by saying, fuck it, just scrap the whole thing, because I'm not trying to get my licenses pulled. This is how we get our money. What's my stance with this? Let's have a conversation. My stance is we need to be consistent, okay? Because me personally, I'm not a free speech absolutist. I think that there are some things that you should get consequences for saying. There are some, I believe that if you're saying hate speech, you know, that you should have some consequences for that. I believe in that. I'm not one of those people that believe you should just be able to say whatever you want. So, you know, when people get fired for calling people the N-word in the street, I'm like, okay, cool. You know, you shouldn't have said that shit. The only problem I'm having with this in particular is the FCC stepping in. If this didn't have anything to do with the government, we didn't have anything to do with FCC, I would not be giving a fuck about this Jimmy Kimmel shit. I don't like Jimmy Kimmel. I'm not a Jimmy Kimmel fan. I don't watch the Jimmy Kimmel show. Like, I would not be, this would not be on my screen if the government didn't have anything to do with this. So the only reason I'm even talking about this shit is that they did this because they got pressure put on them by the government. And that is a really bad precedent to set here, just because y'all want to score points on the culture war board and be able to say, well, y'all do it, so I guess it's time for us to start doing it too. Like, I don't think this is the time for y'all to be playing this game. I think there's more malice than you attribute to it. From who? Do you mean from like the FCC or from Disney and ABC? Like, malice from who? Can you open up requests so I can contextualize? Do I really feel like talking to one of y'all right now? Because every time I start talking to other people, I know it's respectful, bro, but every time I start letting people come on and talk to me, it turns the conversation a whole other way that I don't want it to go. We start talking about a bunch of other tangential shit that is running away from the original point that I'm making. And I really don't want to do that. But you know what? Go ahead and request. I'll talk to you. Go ahead and request. We'll see what you have to say. Right, yeah, I don't plan on being on here very long anyway, so hold up, I'll invite you. All right, what you got for
Hey,
me?
how we doing, bud?
Look, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
What you got for me?
Yeah, so I think you're most of the way to where we're more or less in alignment in our understanding of the situation. I think the additional context that I would add in would be Brendan Carr, the leader of the FCC's previous statements surrounding situations that are substantively more or less identical to our current situation that we're discussing, and then also what's currently going on with Disney's acquisition plans.
Mm-hmm.
So Brendan Carr had previously described a situation that was more or less identical to what's going on now, talking about political commentary that may not agree with what's going on with the government, but as long as it is just political commentary criticizing the government, any infringement of that speech would be considered authoritarian. Now, you can go to Brendan Carr's X account, and these tweets are still up. So that's the context I would add on the FCC side. On the Disney side, I think the important context to add as to why they may have been so willing to capitulate before even legal action was brought was they currently have 2 acquisition projects that they are currently in front of the FCC for approval for. So Disney, currently owning both ABC and ESPN, is trying to acquire both the NFL Network and Fubo TV. Both of these require FCC approval. Both of these are multi-billion-dollar deals.
Right.
So, of course, they're going to be as accommodating of the FCC as possible. That's why Brendan Carr, in his infinite wisdom, is not bringing any direct legal action against them. If there was direct legal action, they could take it to court and appeal it as a violation of the First Amendment.
Right. And that's my problem with it, bro, because like you're right. Technically is not actually infringing on the First Amendment yet. But being pressured by a government entity like that, like he literally was talking gangster to them, bro. He was like, you gonna do this the easy way or the hard way? Like
Right.
And you know what I'm saying?
That and I think that's the that's the line that I think the administration is going to ride, is that they did not directly take any legal action. But that's a little bit like somebody pointing a gun at your head and telling you to hand them your wallet and just saying, well, they gave me their wallet willingly. I didn't take it from them. It's I would argue that it is tantamount to the same violation of the First Amendment as if they had taken legal action.
Exactly.
There was still a government action which resulted in either a chilling effect or a direct contravention of ABC and Disney's willingness to have an open conversation about what's going on, or they're not obviously not engaging directly. It's through Jimmy Kimmel and his show.
Right.
But I would argue that substantially it is the exact same point. It's just a matter of mechanism and how direct the actors are in this particular case.
Right. Yeah. And that's my thing. Like, I'm not making a legal case, like saying, he should take them to court over this. I don't think there's a legal recourse for this. Like you said, they didn't take any actual legal action on this just yet. So,
well, and I think too, it's also really telling to hear Donald Trump speak about this, because Donald Trump is not, when he speaks about what's going on with Jimmy Kimmel and his show, his criticism wasn't that, as it has been with most MAGA content creators, that he tried to paint the shooter as MAGA, which Jimmy Kimmel most certainly did not do. His claim was that MAGA made every attempt to make the shooter appear as anything but MAGA, which I think is a pretty reasonable statement.
Right.
Even before the shooter was captured and arrested, had been interrogated or investigated in any way, before we even had a picture released, we had the President of the United States making a national address calling out the Democratic left and their radicals as the perpetrators before we had, or the FBI or local law enforcement had any idea who it was, let alone what their motivations were. But rather, Donald Trump's criticisms of Jimmy Kimmel is that he criticized Trump.
Yeah, like how he responded to it, talking about the ballroom and stuff like
that. Which, I mean, we can have discussions about, whether that's, a good, a bad, a neutral thing. Those are the kinds of discussions that you should have. And that was what Jimmy Kimmel was engaged in when Donald Trump, via the FCC and Brendan Carr, tried to shut down that conversation because he didn't like the coverage of him. And that's why, that free speech is kind of, I think it should be for everyone, but it's a pretty important topic to me because, just like we've heard the narrative around the murder of Charlie Kirk, when conversation dies, action begins. And me personally, I don't condone violence of any kind, especially political violence.
Me neither.
And I don't want to see a further perpetration of the environment that led to the murder of Charlie Kirk. It's really sad.
For sure, for sure. Ickis, what you got for us, man?
Hey, I was just really intrigued by what me up there was saying, actually, especially with the we'll say the rhetoric after the Kirk pew pewing, like the immediate I'll just say the right wording, I guess, call to arms, but also the misinformation about the pew pewer. I mean, when Trump in Butler, Pennsylvania, we were blaming Iran within 12 hours. So there's a narrative. And if you've been paying attention to Trump since his first administration, you should know what the narrative is all about and what the script is about at this point. No, let's just, and I'm gonna really tread lightly because I find this fascinating. I've read the
Ickis,
narrative.
can I add some context real quick around the
Let me
Butler,
let me let me
Pennsylvania?
just land this last thing. It's like
Yeah.
I've not peddled into the conspiracy of who took out Kirk too much, but I can go off for an hour about how Russiagate was Israelgate.
Uh-oh.
So
That's where we're going with it.
just to add a little bit of context to the Butler, Pennsylvania situation, the reason that everyone was very quick to come up with the Iran narrative was because Iran had made credible threats against Trump prior to the Butler, Pennsylvania rally. Biden had increased Trump's security detail via the Secret Service using his own Secret Service in anticipation of the increased threat talk against Trump. He then further increased the Secret Service protection of Trump post Butler, Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
So,
but what I mean is they
there
blamed
was a
him as being an
justification
Iranian
for that
actor.
narrative coming forward. It wasn't, just a political thing. There had been what the government deemed, even prior to the shooting, or I apologize, the pew pewing or whatever politically correct or TikTok correct language we want to use. There was justification for why they had been looking at Iran initially.
No, not especially when Dylan got popped, during the shooting. Like I mean, come on now. He was a little white boy from Pennsylvania. You're going to blame the Persians in essence. Like that was such a false flag narrative attack.
I don't disagree that it was bad in hindsight. I'm simply speaking in the context of what they knew at the time. They knew very little information about the motives, and this is the case with all political violence,
I get what you mean.
or even just
I see
non-political
what.
violence. There's very little information that is known. You have to go on the information that you do have, which is sparse and wanting.
Oh, yeah, I get what you mean, but I see it more as just like with Netanyahu giving the precursor to lying, crying wolf about Iraq's WMD program. This was a narrative they were scripting in order to get the war drums beating for the inevitable June 21st booming of Iran. There's no that. Absolutely not. Iran held out during the whole Biden administration, especially after Trump went after Qasem Soleimani at an Iraqi international airport. I mean, Iran was basically, they know Trump is the crazy cowboy with six shooters pew pewing in the air. They knew they had diplomacy with Biden. Why would they go after Trump during Biden's presidency? That makes no sense, brother. Why would they do it the last minute of his presidency? Trump didn't win yet.
Yeah. Well, this is what I was afraid of, and I have to let y'all go because this is exactly what I thought was gonna happen. And no offense to y'all too. I'm not shitting on y'all too. Y'all was having a good conversation, but it completely veered off from the original. This always happens. This is why I try not to. No, for sure me. I like there's no issues with y'all. No, there's no issues with me. Ickis, I don't know. He's seeming a little. He seems like he has issue with those people. And I'm not going to go any deeper into all that. But it's no issues with y'all in particular and what y'all saying. It's just that now we're talking about something else. We're talking about something else now. Thanks for my dumb. Okay, bro. But yeah, I'm just waiting for somebody to kind of like, I'm waiting for one of these free speech absolutist types, one of these free speech advocates to come up here and tell me about how canceling Jimmy Kimmel is good. Actually, that's what I want. That's what I want. I want somebody to square that circle for me and make that make sense. Because from where I'm standing, if your principle is that you love free speech and you should be able to say whatever you want, then Jimmy Kimmel should be able to say whatever he wants, even on TV, even if he's famous, even if it's about a dead guy. Now, we're gonna act like people never made jokes about dead people before on TV. He didn't even joke about Charlie Kirk, by the way. He didn't say anything bad about Charlie Kirk, by the way. Like, this is not the worst thing we've ever seen somebody on late night television do. This is not something that we've seen people. I've seen people get away with saying way worse than what he just said, and they're completely destroying his whole show over this. It's ridiculous, and it's clear and transparent hypocrisy and a clear and transparent double standard that none of these people want to admit to, because they would have to admit that they don't have any principles, actually. And it's rules for thee, but not for me. And I can act like I'm morally flabbergasted and, oh my God, you can't say this about him. He had a family, he had kids. You can morally grandstand about you saying something bad about somebody because they lost their life, when other people make jokes and do all types of crazy stuff about people who lost their lives all the time. People get caught calling people the N-word, and you motherfuckers will go out here defending them, saying you shouldn't get fired over what you say. It's just words. Why are you such a sensitive snowflake? You know? Where's the consistency? Especially in this situation where the government is involved. Now we're not even just talking about employer firing an employee for whatever reasons they might have. People get fired over saying dumb shit all the time. That's not like newsworthy. People get fired from TV shows for saying shit that people don't like all the time. You know, the main counter argument people are trying to bring to me is Roseanne. How did you feel about when they canceled Roseanne? First of all, they didn't even cancel Roseanne. Roseanne kept going. She's just not in it no more. They kicked her off her own show. The show is called Roseanne, and they took all the characters that was on Roseanne and made a whole new thing without her. Like, they didn't even cancel her show. All the people that worked on the Roseanne show, they came back to work again on the show without her. But, you know, the difference here is when they got rid of Roseanne because of the shit she was saying, it was between the company and the employer and the employee. So it's whatever. Like, that may or may not be a good thing, but that's whatever. Like, this isn't like a free speech issue. This is like do you think people should be fired for what they say issue? That's different from a constitutional First Amendment question. But when you have the FCC stepping in and talking gangster to Disney, saying, "Hey man, we may have to pull some licenses from you. We know y'all trying to do some deals right now. The timing on this is pretty iffy, you know. You can do this the easy way or the hard way." You know, they sat Disney down like a fucking mob boss and told them, "Hey man, we ain't telling you what you gotta do, but you gotta do something." Like, defending a government agency doing that is 100% anti-free speech. I know it's not like legally free speech where they legally made them do it, but like, having a government entity putting pressure on you, talking to you gangster like they your fucking mob boss and saying we're gonna pull some strings to make some things happen if you don't, do something about this. That's absolutely an infringement of the First Amendment, the Constitution, the First Amendment right. And y'all should be against that. Y'all shouldn't like this. Y'all shouldn't be okay with this. Y'all are the free speech absolutists, not us. This is your principle that you're supposed to be upholding. This is supposed to be bad to y'all. This is not supposed to be good. What are y'all laughing at? Who is this funny to? This is not supposed to be funny to you. Just because you don't like Jimmy Kimmel and what he said. I don't like Jimmy Kimmel either. I don't think Jimmy Kimmel is this hilarious comedian either. That don't mean that it's okay to trample on his rights because I don't like what he was saying. Like, what are we talking about right now, bro? All right, Ryan, let me see what you say. Hopefully you don't go off the rails too much. What's up, Ryan? What you got for us?
Hey, I just wanted to say I 100% agree with you. I'm right there with you. I don't find Jimmy Kimmel funny. I think what he said caused even more division, and America is already, in my mind, so divided that it is on the brink of collapse. And ABC absolutely, as Jimmy's employer, had the right to fire him.
Right.
What people need to understand is when Trump put out that tweet saying that that Seth Meyers should be next and putting that pressure on NBC, that to me is state-run TV. True. Just like Russia has, just like North Korea has, and there should be no place in America for state-run TV.
Exactly.
Americans need to be trusted to hear both sides of the aisle, to hear both sides of the rhetoric, and make the decisions for themselves of what builds their foundation as both an individual and a American.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right, bro. Like, nobody should be okay with this. The leftists shouldn't be okay, and the right wing shouldn't. No American should be thinking that, ha ha ha, y'all been doing it so long, so we finally doing it. Like, this is bad. This is not something, you should not see this as a victory, as a supposed free speech activist and free speech absolutist. This makes no sense in your worldview if you feel like people should be able to say what they want. Like, where the principle is supposed to be applied evenly to everyone. So, like, it doesn't make sense for you to be seeing this as a victory because you just don't like Jimmy Kimmel, so you don't give a fuck what happens to him. This is setting a terrible precedent, because if they could do that for him, what makes you think that they're not gonna? Because again, the way they did it was so sly and slick. They didn't like put any. They didn't do any litigation, right? They didn't like legally remove him from TV, but they knew just the strings to pull to put that pressure on. They just knew just who to talk to. Just they did what they knew needed to be done to get the result that they wanted to get. And a government entity doing that is dangerous.
Absolutely, and I think we, as citizens of this nation, also have to understand how much Disney owns at this point. How much of a media presence that they have.
Yep.
So you're exactly right. It starts with Kimmel, and then like who's to say next? I mean, people say this sounds like the Twilight Zone, and conspiracy theorists, but who's to say that they're not going to start monitoring conversations like this and shutting conversations like this down.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't. This doesn't just apply to people who are famous and rich. This doesn't just apply to public figures. This applies to all Americans, which means if they're able to do that to him, you know for a fact they're going to be able to do that to little old us. And like, this is something that everybody should be up in arms about. Everybody should have their antennas up about this. Nobody should be seeing this as like a victory or as like a way to own the libs. Okay, I don't think this is the time for that. This is not the time for you to be, dancing in the street like ha ha, like pointing your finger like you did something. This is not a win for you. This is a loss, especially for people who are supposed to be free speech activists, free speech absolutists. Like any other time, they love free speech. They just, people should be able to say whatever they want. People should be able to say the N-word. People should be able to talk about people's dead kids. People should be able to say anything else. They're able to do that for any other situation. And in this situation, because it's Jimmy Kimmel, because they don't like him, and because they're up in a frenzy over this Charlie Kirk shit. So anything anybody says about Charlie Kirk that can be construed as negative, we don't care what happens to them. Because of that, they're okay with state sanctioned fucking First Amendment right violations. Like it might not be legally or literally a First Amendment right violation, but it's damn near close to it. And if they could do this to Jimmy Kimmel once again, what's to say that they can't do that to us on a mass scale? So nobody should be seeing this as a good thing. Everybody should be up in arms about this. Everybody should have their antennas up about this. It's crazy, man. Like, why are people coming up here trying to defend this to me?
Yes,
I don't get that.
Well, and I saw today that one of George Washington's last speeches before he resigned, before he gave up the presidency, was he argued that political parties in America will eventually tear the nation apart. And so you're exactly right. It's not about liberals. It's not about Republicans. It's about our right as Americans.
Exactly. Patrick, you got something for us, bro?
No, I just wanted to chime in, and I believe that if you say something stupid, you get what you deserve. That's just what it is, and I feel like this man didn't get, I don't think he got fired because he was a nice guy. He just said the wrong thing at the wrong time, and the network decided to cancel his show. You can't just go around and expect to say whatever you want off the top of your head and think that there's no repercussions. Everybody has to be held accountable for what they say. You can't be in a movie theater and yell fire, fire, and there's no fire, and then think that you're just going to walk out without any repercussions. I mean, that's not the way that free speech works. I think that we are entitled to have free speech, but at the same time, we got to be cautious of what we say. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, the fire in the theater argument makes sense if that's what he was doing. Okay, so the problem here that I'm seeing is the comparison. It's not analogous. What he's doing is not like saying fire in a theater. And this is not a situation where somebody just get fired because they said something dumb on the job. People get fired for saying something dumb on the job all the time, and it doesn't become nationwide news. People get their shows canceled from TV all the time for saying something dumb, and it doesn't become nationwide news. The reason why this is special and unique is because of the government involvement in this. Like there's people in the government that were putting pressure on the networks. I don't know if you read the article that I have up here on the screen. It literally says they were threatening ABC and Disney to pull some of their licenses. They were threatening like, hey, the time y'all are trying to do some acquisitions right now. The timing on this is pretty bad. Like, I don't know, like, have you read that? Like they were talking to him gangster, like they were mob bosses.
I haven't read this specific this specific one here, but I did read one that said that Obama was kind of upset because he got canceled. Now, when, in all honesty, I mean, when has Disney canceled anything? And they do worse things than this.
That's my
I feel
point.
like this is one of those occasions, like you said. The reason that it's on the spotlight is because of the situation and of the timing. You don't go out and you're this really famous person or whatever, or even hint to it, and celebrate someone's death. I mean, it's a person, and regardless of their beliefs and their, their, I guess they're Republican or Democrat, whatever they believe in, it's still a human. And I think as humans, we should be more understanding than if it was one of our family members that happened to. We wouldn't want somebody in the media, if they were famous, obviously, because Charlie Kirk was famous, and so is Kimmel.
But
I don't think
Patrick, I
we
gotta
would
stop you there. I
appreciate
gotta
him
stop
going
you.
out and celebrating our family member's death, or
Patrick,
father's
I gotta
brother,
stop
whatever
you.
it was.
I gotta stop you, Patrick.
It's
I
just
gotta stop you.
it's just
The problem is
human nature.
Jimmy Kimmel. First of all, number one, Jimmy Kimmel was not celebrating his death. Like, I don't know where you got that
No, I'm
from.
not saying celebrating that. I misspoke that, but what I'm saying is he hinted. That's what I said. He hinted to saying, oh well. It almost hinted like he said it's like a dog. Who really cares? And here in
I
America,
mean,
to be honest with you, we care
who
more about dogs than
cares?
human beings.
You
Honestly,
okay, Patrick? The first of all, who cares? I'm saying it. Who cares? Like, people. Did you ever watch this movie, Paid in Full? Niggas get shot every day. B. Like, this is. Hey, this doesn't mean I'm happy about it and that I think it's good that happened. But like,
everybody
I'm
has
not
their
gonna.
own opinion. Yeah, I get it.
But the other thing is, again, what we're ignoring, because again, people get fired for saying stuff on TV all the time. People get fired for what
Yeah,
they say all the time by a private.
he got fired for
The
something wrong.
argument isn't that he shouldn't got fired. He shouldn't have got fired for what he said. The argument is that he shouldn't have got fired for what he said because of what the government did, because the government put pressure on them and
No,
made. No,
brother, I mean, look at and I mean, you got to look at, pros and cons and what it is for lies or what it's not, what the truth is. They could, I mean, we know that the media is bought out by Democrats. We know that 100%. They put out what they want to put out. The
Pat,
FBI, the FBI also is also, I don't know exactly what's going on there. They're not giving any answers about, this man's killing. We don't know who the shooter is. One second they're saying he confessed, the other second, oh, he didn't confess. Oh, this is the guy. Oh, no, this is not the guy. The text messages don't make any sense. So, what I'm getting at, whether if it's Republicans or Democrats, I feel like they're the same bird with two different wings. But it's still the same bird, regardless. And they have us, the people, they have us blinded and going against one another when they're not. They're just sitting back and watching the show. I mean, we can't fall for this stuff, whether or not he got canceled or fired because, the government and the government. Well, you know what? If I'm a person that wants to conquer, I got to do the whole conquer and divide situation. Well, now I'm going to fire this guy so these people can get all routed up, and then I'm going to do this to this guy so that these people can get routed up, and we'll just sit back and watch the show and let them cut each other's throats. I mean, that's where it's at, and that's why I'm saying what I said. And regardless of his beliefs and what he was saying, he's still a human being, and that's what we as people need to focus on. We don't need to focus on, it's the government or they're putting in their 2 cents. No, we know that the government lies
Patrick,
all the time.
respectfully, Patrick. Unfortunately, respectfully, I have to keep saying respectfully. Charlie's dead already. It's too late for him.
Yeah.
All we can do is try
And
to
Kimball's
continue to
fired too. I
protect.
mean,
All we can do is try to continue to protect our rights, and we can't let people use his death as like a sledgehammer to just do whatever the fuck they want to do. So, like,
Exactly.
I understand you're
no,
gonna.
the government versus the people. I said that. I clearly said that earlier.
I know, but you're saying like, oh, well, we shouldn't be focused on whether the government stepped in. We should be focused on, well, he lost his life. Like, no,
No,
we
no, no,
shouldn't.
no. I'm saying as humans, we should be more. You're saying rights. Okay, fine. There's a whole bunch of rights that we've lost. You just need to look them up. And one of them is in censoring with the media, not the media. I'm sorry, but social media. There's a lot of people that get arrested for either typing or posting stupid stuff, and the government comes in and they get arrested. And I mean, and what I'm saying here is not about whether or not he's already passed or whether or not this guy already lost his job. What I'm saying is see them as equals. One's alive, one is dead. It is what it is, but the outcome is still the outcome. They're still gone. They're not functioning anymore. And we as a society, we should see that it's not the guy that passed or the guy that lost his job. We need to see that as a society that the government is the true enemy against the people, because regardless whether they're using, like you're saying, this man's death to come and take rights away and use that as a sledgehammer to take our rights away, who's doing the taking away? The government. It wasn't Charlie that came back from the dead and said, "Okay, guys, these are my rights. I'm taking them away from you." No, it's the government that said, "Oh, you know what? We got this. We're going to go ahead and take some of these rights away because we don't want them to have rights." Another thing that happened that
Patrick, my thing is, if you're going to say that Jimmy, shouldn't have said what he said and actions have consequences,
Right.
my thing that people tend to look on one side and not the other. Think about all the things that the Trump administration and Trump himself has said that has sown division. He calls Democrats libtards. He has sown division by what he says over and over and over again.
Okay, brother. And who does Donald Trump work for?
The American people should.
No, sir. If he worked for the American people, it would be a whole different story. He pretends to work for the American people. He does not work for the American people. He is part of the cabal, what the government is controlled by. The government controls them, and they try to take our rights away. You guys got to see it for what it is. I mean, I'm not here to debate you guys whether or not this is right, this is wrong. No, what I'm here is to tell you guys there is a bigger enemy than Democrats and Republicans. And
I agree with that.
If we as a society don't start waking up and seeing and really realizing what the problem is, we're going to lose as people, not as two different sides.
Patrick, I agree with you that it's bigger than left and right. I agree. I don't do the political gang banging thing where anything that happens to a leftist I don't like, and everything that happens to a Republican I like it. Like I don't do that. The problem I'm having is the right situation. Other people are doing that, first of all, and then secondly, I don't know if you're familiar with that one guy on the Fox News cast where they were talking about what to do with those homeless people out there in Phoenix. And bro he was on national TV. He's on Fox News. Jimmy Kimmel is a comedy show. This guy was on an actual news station, and he said on TV, we should involuntarily, lethally inject them. Just kill them. He literally said those words. Just kill them. And he was able to go back on TV the next day and say, "I'm sorry about that, y'all. I ain't really mean it like that." Like, he got to get back on TV and start copping pleas afterwards. And he's still working there. He's still talking on Fox News right now.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's going to be, they're going to fire who they're going to fire, and they're going to keep who they're going to keep to their benefit, not to the American people's benefits. It doesn't matter.
But that's my point, though. But
I get what you're saying. Now, I know that you're focused on, they're going to use, Charlie Kirk's death to take our rights away, and this is how they're playing it out. And they got this guy fired because, politically they were pushing the agenda of, you guys should, fire him because if not, you're going to lose licenses and this and that. Who's going to look at that? Why do they put that on the newspaper if it's the own government or it's the own? I mean, it's to get people riled up. Like, that's the whole scenario that's going on here. Now, if we take 9/11, what happened on 9/11? 9/11, we got all kinds of new laws and a whole bunch of rights taken away. We have no right of privacy anymore. They could be
Okay, so
watching
Patrick,
you.
Patrick, before
They
you go
could be
any
watching
further,
you on your own
Patrick,
home cameras, and
Patrick.
and you can go and say, "Hey, you're not allowed to do that. I'm going to get a lawyer." Well, guess what? It's a law now, and they're
Okay,
going to say,
Patrick,
"Well, because you know what,
Patrick.
you're safe."
Before you go further, because you go on a lot of tangents, bro. But before you go any
No, no,
further,
I'm just trying to agree with you, but I guess I'm. We're just not going to agree. So I'm the type of
no,
person. I'm
no,
just
we can
let's
agree.
agree
We
to
can agree.
disagree.
No, we can agree. It's just like you speak in paragraphs, like brevity. Try to be brief. But
Gotcha, gotcha.
what I want to say is like I want to ask you, like, do you think he should have lost his job over this?
I think that I don't think that he shouldn't. I think he shouldn't have said what he said because I go back
Mhm.
to that same scenario of if it was one of our family members, we wouldn't want somebody to talk about our family members that way. That's the way that I feel.
Sure.
We
Now,
we wouldn't want to, but that's the beauty of freedom of speech.
well,
I
obviously it's not freedom if he got
I don't
fired,
have to
brother.
like what that person says, but they have the right to say it.
Like we think
Yeah,
that we still
yeah,
have the freedom of speech, but you got to understand we've lost that, and
yeah. But that's
they're
that.
just
But
putting it out in
Patrick,
your face and saying, "Ha, we took your freedom of speech, and you think that you still have it. Look what we're gonna do to this guy," and get you guys
Patrick,
all riled
Patrick,
up.
Patrick, Patrick. That's why we're having these conversations,
Yeah,
though.
no, I get
We're
it. I
saying
get it.
we're saying like we have to point out when shit like this is happening. We have to point out when the government is
This has
overstepping.
nothing. This is
Oh, go. Let see you cut in on me and your connection is
this
fucked
is not
up. You did all
a
that
First
and you ain't
Amendment.
even got your Wi-Fi right. God damn. I need you to get your connection together before you start cutting me off. Are you connected to that Section 8 Wi-Fi yet, bro?
You know, honestly and truly, what happened is very unfortunate. What they're using this to push their political agendas is even worse because it is. And we as American citizens living in the United States, having soldiers go, to other countries, other parts of the world and fighting, and then saying and qualifying, all the massacres, all that stuff that goes down as national security or for freedom. Dude, we don't have freedom anymore. We don't have the freedom of speech. We don't have the freedom of using our own money where we want to use it. They got to be in every little thing. You can't even
We
go out.
we we
You can't even make a simple transaction between two people without somebody realizing and saying, "Okay, where's my piece of the pie? If you don't
we
give me my piece of the pie,
we
you're gonna get
agree.
it."
We agree with all that.
Yeah.
But to drive the point home, right? I want to ask you this question, Patrick, and just a yes or no answer. Based on what the host said about the news host saying that he believes homeless people should be euthanized, right? If he didn't get fired for saying that, and he's a news host, and Jimmy Kimmel hosts a comedy show, right? Something the weight of justice is uneven. Can we agree with that?
I could agree with that. Yeah, that's what I said earlier. They're going to do what they're going to do based on their narrative. Whatever their narrative is, that's what they're going to do. If firing Jimmy Kimmel helps with their narrative, it doesn't matter what party he's in. It doesn't matter if he's Democrat and he supports whatever he supports, or he's Republican and he supports whatever he supports. If it's going to help their narrative, they're going to do it.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. So, but because I gotta introduce Cajun, but I'm gonna just say one more thing, like, because we're getting off in the weeds a little bit. My whole point, what I'm here to do is
Was the right.
understand what I'm here to do is to understand the mind of the free speech absolutist, right? The person who's this free speech African. I love free speech. People should say whatever they want. Free speech, free speech, free speech. I want to understand how you can be that person and also come back when this happens to Jimmy Kimmel and when this is like a clear violation of free speech, and say, well, they've been doing it to us this whole time, and you shouldn't have said that, and it's freedom of speech, not freedom of consequences. How can you be that person making those points? How can you have those principles of free speech absolutism and believe that you can say whatever you want and then be okay with somebody losing their show for saying whatever they want? That's what I'm trying to understand. But Cajun Raging, you can go ahead and jump in.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
I can't hear you, bro. Turn your shit up.
Let's see. How y'all doing?
I can hear you a little bit better. Go ahead.
Y'all still exactly what he said. I think I read it earlier. He just said that he thought that the Republicans didn't want the pew to be like they were or something like that.
I can barely hear you. Can y'all hear
Like
him?
what Jimmy said.
No, I can't make out.
What
Like, are
Jimmy
you
Kimmel said.
whispering? Are you okay? Like,
What Jimmy Kimmel said.
Kidnapped?
Maybe.
Say it one more time. One more time.
Like what Jimmy Kimmel said.
Oh, you're asking what did he say?
Yeah, I'm reading it right here. Like it says, like they're trying to characterize the pew pewing as anything other than like the right people on the right. All right.
Correct.
That's it. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not that bad.
Right. That's what I'm saying. People are trying to paint it as if like he's saying that he's happy that he lost his life. Like you could tell the people who aren't actually doing any research on this shit. Like they're just saying shit. Jimmy Kimmel was not celebrating bro losing his life. Jimmy Kimmel
No. That's not what I'm saying either.
I know you're not saying that. I'm talking about the motherfuckers in my comment section earlier.
Yeah, no. We got to understand something, man. Like for reals. And we do have freedom of speech. And you know what a right is, right? Like a right is our God-given right. When we're born, we consider being born a right because God gave us that right to be born. He blessed the womb and he blessed us to be born. It's the same thing with freedom of speech is our right. But you know what the government does? Because the government, they're not stupid. And like I said, if they have agendas, they're going to do whatever the hell it takes to do whatever it takes to get the people to be on each other's throats. But they go ahead and they say, okay, guys, you have the right of freedom of speech, right? You can say whatever you want, this and this and this and that. And according to you guys, since it's your right, you shouldn't be able to get in trouble. You shouldn't be able to shut your mouth when somebody tells you to shut up and because you're talking something that you shouldn't be talking or spewing things you shouldn't be spewing. So the government comes in and they say, we'll give you your right, but we as the government are going to govern that right, meaning they're going to make up laws so that they can not take the right away, but in other words, censor it to a certain limitation. And that is what they've been doing. And that is what we're losing. We're not losing the right. We're just gaining more laws that are infringing our right of freedom of speech. And that's what I'm saying. I think that Kimmel, whatever the reason, whatever it might have been, but if it was going to work to their narrative, that's why he got canceled or his show got canceled because of that. It had nothing to do with whether or not it's freedom of speech at this point. No, I think that it's because of the infringement and because of their narrative that they wanted to paint and having the people divided. That is their goal at the end of the day.
And real quick, I just Googled what are the exceptions to free speech. These are supposed to be the only exceptions to free speech. It will be incitements, true threats, which is like different from just saying I'm gonna beat you up, like an actual threat, serious threat. Obscenity, which includes like sexual content in an offensive way that has no like artistic value. Child, material. I ain't gonna say that word.
I got it pulled up. It says legal protections and limitations. Well, freedom of speech is a protected right.
Yeah.
It is not absolute. Various limitations exist, including obscenity and indecency, defamation, and it goes on and on. But
Yes.
that's what I'm trying to get at. Yes, it's your
Yeah.
right, but the government, since it's against the people, they're gonna come in and say, "Well, you guess what, buddy? You hurt that guy's feelings. Now we get to step in and set these limitations on your right."
But
And that's what
Patrick,
the problem. And
the problem is
that's what the
Patrick.
problem is.
Wait a second, Patrick. The problem is that like all the stuff that we see as exceptions to the First Amendment, Jimmy Kimmel didn't do any of those things.
No, that's why I go back to what I said. Regardless if it was because of what he said or he didn't, if it fits with their narrative, just like right here with the so-called legal protections and limitations on your First Amendment, then guess what? They're going to do it because
All right,
it goes into play with their narrative. That's what I'm saying.
all right, I got you, Patrick.
Well,
But you,
to draw things closer back to the host main reason for having this conversation, I believe if a person is a true ally of freedom of speech, right? Either Kimmel and the Fox News host should both be fired, or the Fox News host should have should keep his job, and Kimmel should come back.
exactly.
I agree with that, but guess what? That's not going to happen because Jimmy Kimmel might not be a contributor to politics, and Disney is probably bankrolling the fucking government with, I don't know, a couple of $1 billion a year. There's something that somebody said a long time ago. You can either be rich to where you can rent a politician, or you're rich enough to buy a politician.
And that is exactly what Donald Trump did when he celebrated the firing of Jimmy Kimmel. We are getting, people are getting used by politicians to your point,
And,
True.
and
and
Colbert.
getting used by politicians. So that division happens in America, and just like Abraham Lincoln said, a house divided falls.
That's right. There you go. You just said it yourself, man, and I agree with that
Wait a second,
100%.
wait a second, Patrick. Cajun, you was trying to jump in. You want to say something?
I say, and Stephen Colbert too, with his show,
Yeah,
Okay.
like the same thing,
Stephen Colbert too.
a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah, didn't
He
Trump?
criticized the
Didn't
company
Trump?
for.
I mean,
Um,
it's happened to quite a people. You got Tucker Carlson too. Tucker Carlson got fired. He got let go. He had his own, news channel, and he got let go because he wasn't. Like I said, man. At the end of the day, whether they're Republican or Democrat, or they believe in this or they believe in that, if it fits in with the narrative that they want to play, they're going to play it, and that's what we as people got to see. Because if we don't see that, then we're completely lost.
well,
It's like two big
and,
late night in the
and
same month. Like
I'm sorry. Go
it's
ahead.
like two big late night shows in the same like month or 2 month period. I'm talking about them like, and they're all like against Trump usually.
I,
He's
I,
gonna do it again too. Like
Yeah, and that should be scary for us
yeah,
as American people.
yeah, it is scary, man. Because I'm watching everything that happens. Whether, like I said, whether if it was 9/11 or unfortunately this guy's death that happened the way it happened, they're using it to their advantage and they're taking our rights away slowly but surely. But anyways, well, I'm gonna let you guys go. It was a pleasure. You guys have a good day. Thank you for letting me chime in, host. Really appreciate that, man.
For sure. Take it easy, bro. You're a little bit of a yapper,
Have a
but
good one.
you get it.
I know it, man. That's my fault. Have a good day, y'all.
All right, bro.
Bye bye.
But yeah, I mean, y'all could keep going, but like again, like I want to talk to one of these people, man. I want to talk to one of these people who are over here trying to gloat and laugh and say, ha ha ha. You get you. This is what you get. Y'all been canceling people this whole time. Trying to play the you did it first game. I want to see these people who are supposed to be free speech absolutists explain to me how canceling somebody is good now, actually.
Right.
Stopping people from using their free speech is actually cool now. You know, your life's principle is supposed to be about protecting free speech and letting people say whatever they want. And you know, I don't agree with what you said, but I'm gonna defend the right for you to say it. That's always the line that these motherfuckers say. But
Exactly.
now that
And
it's yeah,
America has always been built on hypocrisy, and a country built on hypocrisy, man, eventually that monster is going to get fully out of control, and I think that's where we're at in the timeline.
for sure. This is terrible, man. We really are starting to come apart at the seams, and all people really have to do is just like take a step back, bro. Just take a step back. Forget about this Democrat Republican bullshit. Forget about this left versus right bullshit, and just take a step back and say, bro, look at what's happening right now. Look at what this identity politics culture war bullshit is doing to the government and politics in the world. Look at this. This is the fruit of our labor. This is the fruit of us fighting against woke and fighting against SJWs and making everything about the trans and about illegal immigrants and about all these tangential, unimportant bullshit topics that we've been arguing about this whole time. Stuff that really doesn't affect us, really. You know, we let this be the main thing that we talk about, and right up under our noses, they're taking away our rights. At first, it was just small shit that most people feel like they can live without, but now they're literally attacking the First Amendment. Not the fake version of attacking the First Amendment where a person you don't like gets banned off Twitter. That's not attacking the First Amendment. I'm talking about the actual government stepping in and stopping somebody from saying something. That is scary. That's scary if you're on the left. That's scary if you're on the right. Nobody should be happy about this. Nobody should see this as a good thing. Nobody should be trying to score politics points and saying, well, y'all were doing it at first, so now we're doing it now, and I guess it's not that bad because we're doing it back to you. This is not the time for that. This is not the time for you to be trying to score points in the culture war. These people are literally tearing, they're taking the Constitution and wiping their ass with it right now, bro. And they're doing it in covert ways that a lot of these people can't conceptualize. They don't have the capacity to think about the sly and slick way. Because it's like bro said before we can't technically sue them for this because they didn't litigate. Like there's no litigation saying like you have to there's nothing on paper of the government telling them to shut this down or else we're going to do this to you. Like they've covered their tracks. They found a way to get what they want without it technically breaking the First Amendment, and that's scary for the people to see that happening and catch it happening and not say anything about it and not be up in arms. We're supposed to be plugging that hole. We're supposed to be saying, wait. That's still breaking the First Amendment. It may not be technically breaking it because it's not litigious, but the spirit of the Constitution is saying, hey, the government isn't supposed to have any say in what we say on TV or in media or whatever, unless it's very specific in particular things like hate speech or, child, stuff like that. We can step in on shit like that. But a person making a joke about somebody on TV, that is not, the government is not supposed to be involved in that at all.
Right.
So like nobody has been able to make that make sense to me. Nobody's been able to explain to me how you could be a free speech activist and love free speech and believe you can say whatever you want and then be in support of this. Like, this is boggling my mind, bro.
Absolutely. And I saw someone say a couple days ago that alarm bells were going off originally, and now after this situation and other situations that have occurred, it's no longer alarm bells. If anybody knows anything about history, everybody should know what chapter we are in in the history book.
The last one before the battle.
I can barely hear you, bro. Your mic is.
Last chapter.
Oh yeah, okay. I got you. Yeah, man. This shit is scary times, but it looks like nobody on that side wants to debate with me. And unfortunately, I love you guys. Y'all were great, but I really came up here looking to argue with niggas. So if nobody else wants to, if nobody else wants to come up, I'm gonna have to end this soon because I gotta go eat anyway. But good conversation, bro. Ryan, you really you brought some really good points. Raging, I wish your mic was better so I could hear what you were saying. But shouts out to y'all. I mean, y'all have any last things you want to say before I end this?
I just want to make sure I got your name right. It's Kenny, right?
Yeah, it's Kenny. Just Kenny without
all
an E.
right, good to sort of make your acquaintance, and I just appreciate you using your platform to try to be a beacon to freedom of speech and make sure it continues. I think conversation is really important, and it makes people kind of wake up and realize exactly what you said. It's not one side versus the other. It's those people that are trying to cause division that we should worry about.
For sure. Cajun Raging, I know I don't know if you got your mic situation together yet. If you want to say one more thing before you get out of here.
No, I'll play this for Trump right quick.
Not the music. Bro, the music. All right, man. I'll take it easy. Have a good day, y'all.